Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Salazar with the Better Business Bureau Education Foundation from Houston, Texas. The BBB Education Foundation Scam of the Week for June 8th, 2020 is financial exploitation. This will be a special presentation because on Monday, June 15th, it is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. But first, let's review what is elder abuse. Elder abuse refers to intentional or negligent acts by a caregiver or trusted individual that causes harm to an older person. Elder abuse takes many different forms, such as neglect or isolation, physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse and exploitation, emotional or psychological abuse, and this can include verbal abuse and threats. I have been a benefits counselor, a long-term ombudsman, and now I'm the director of the Senior Medicare Patrol, which covers the whole great state of Texas. Unfortunately, in my career, I've seen every one of these forms of abuse. And today I want to focus on financial abuse. I want to discuss what are the signs and how can we stop this. It takes a whole community, a whole society to make a difference. Let's quickly review financial abuse and exploitation. Financial exploitation, also known as financial abuse, is when someone illegally or improperly uses your money or belongings for themselves. This can be done by someone you know, like a friend or relative, or a complete stranger. However, there are things you can do to protect yourself. Why are older adults targeted for financial exploitation? There are so many different reasons why. For example, they have their own money, their own homes, pensions, investments, plus they have something worth more than money. They have something worth more than a credit card. It's called a Medicare number. Did you know a Medicare number is easily worth $30,000, but not to the person that owns it? To a scammer. And we're going to talk a little more about that later on in this presentation. Another reason why older adults are targeted is they may be at home during the day and they are excited when the phone rings and they pick it up really quickly. They believe that people are telling them the truth. If they get a phone call out of the blue, they may believe the person on the other line is telling them the truth. Some may be confused by new technology. Believe it or not, I'll be 40 years old this year, and I still have my 13-year-old show me how to use certain things on my phone. And sometimes older adults can no longer do home repairs. Who are the perpetrators? Who are the criminals doing this horrible financial exploitation to older adults? Believe it or not, caregivers or family members. And they will use the older adults' retirement funds, their Social Security, because guess what? The older adult gets a check once a month from Social Security, and investments for their own personal gain. Also, watch out for stranger danger. Remember when we were in elementary school and our teachers taught us to stay away from strangers? Well, guess what? This still applies to anyone of any age because these folks are after your money. They may scam you by phone, email, or regular mail. They may come off as contractors, workmen, or home repairmen. Something else to watch out for is any business person or anyone coming to your door trying to use their religion to get you to go for their service or their business. No one should have to use their religion to get your business. Why do family members exploit loved ones? And I hate to tell you this, but in a lot of these cases, it is the family member, more so than a stranger. We don't know all the reasons, but here are some that we do know: substance abuse, gambling, and financial problems. Another one, unfortunately, is the family member feels like they should inherit their seniors' money. They feel that it is rightfully theirs. Or that family member has a fear that the older adult will spend what they think is their money and take away from their future inheritance. Or they have a poor relationship with the older person, therefore, they have a sense of entitlement. And lastly, they want to keep other family members from taking what is theirs, what they believe is theirs, from acquiring or inheriting the older person's assets. How do strangers target older adults? We see a lot of this at the BBB Education Foundation. For example, a younger person professes their love or care about an older person. And guess what? Sometimes that's called the romance scam. Or a stranger will seek employment as a caregiver or a personal assistant. Some strangers drive through neighborhoods looking for people that may live alone. And guess what? They may need help with their yard, or they may need help picking up groceries or prescriptions. And some scammers go as low as looking at obituaries. They look at obituaries, they find out everything they can about the widow, and then they may contact him or her out of the blue, pretending to be a friend of their spouse that just passed away. Also, being overcharged for products or use deceptive business practices. Use their own position of trust to gain compliance. For example, that person you just hired as a caregiver may try to gain your trust. That way, if they ever need financial assistance, you're there. And the last one is neighborhood spoofing and robocalls. Neighborhood spoofing is when a scammer can call you on your phone and change the phone number. A lot of times they like to change it to your area code and the first 3 digits of your telephone number because you may pick it up. And guess what? If you pick it up, that might be a new friend or somebody that you've never met at your church just calling to talk to you, and they build that relationship. Or a robocall. How could a robocall possibly have anything to do with financial exploitation? Well, it has a lot. For example, a robocall, that is when a scammer is using all these different phone numbers in the dialer system. And then if you pick up and say hello, or if you press 1 to talk to the representative, that scammer now knows that that phone number works. And they may take that phone number, use it on the internet, find your name, find some information about you, and target you for one of these scams we just talked about. Let's review the signs of financial or material exploitation. A big sign for any bank is when a new person shows up at the bank with the older adult. This includes new names on signature cards and gets an ATM card that's linked to the older adult's bank account. Any changes in will and other important documents, disappearance of stocks, funds, or valuable possessions, unauthorized withdrawal of funds, or forges signatures on checks. The next flag I like to refer to is relatives coming out of the woodworks. It's basically relatives that were never involved in the senior's life, and all of a sudden they're interested in the senior and especially their possessions. They feel like they have a right to claim their possessions, especially after the senior may have passed away. Sudden transfer of assets to a family member or someone outside the family that no one knows. We've seen this one with the romance scam, unfortunately. Another one is provision of service that are not necessary but very costly, and unpaid bills despite the ability to pay. So what are some of the examples of the scams? We have a long list, but we narrowed them down. The lotteries are the sweepstakes. For example, the older adult gets a phone call saying, "Congratulations, you've won the lottery. We just need to get your bank account information to put your money in there." Wrong. What about work from home opportunities? You don't even have to leave your couch. All you need is a telephone. Wrong again. Or the famous grandparent scam. You get a phone call from a grandchild saying that they need help and all they need is $100. And it sounds just like your grandchild. Guess what? Unfortunately, scammers now have the technology to mimic your grandchild's voice. And they can and they will. But it's not your grandchild. Always have a code word so you know for a fact if it's a family member or not. A code word is a word that you make up and you only tell your family. The census scam. We just completed our census, and guess what? You may get a call from somebody saying you still need to fill out more information, or you may get a phony census taker. Beware. Investment seminars. Government officials calling you. Now let's get one thing straight. Medicare is not going to call you. The IRS is not going to call you. Okay? Identity theft after a person has died. Internet scams. Phishing emails. Now, I promise I did not spell the word phishing wrong. That's basically when scammers send out lots of emails hoping that someone might open it. And if you accidentally open an email, they might load what's called a virus, malware, to your computer. And if they load that to your computer, they might can figure out your keystrokes, which means they can figure out if you went to your bank account and figure out your password. So be careful. And we just discussed neighborhood spoofing. That's where they can take any number they want, put it in your caller ID, and you could think it could be one of your friends. In fact, they like to use your area code and the first 3 digits of your phone number because you might fall for it. But wait, there's more. Remember I was telling you about Medicare and scams? Well, here we go. Scammers love to target Medicare because what I just told you earlier in this presentation is a Medicare number is worth at least $30,000, but not to you. All they need is your Medicare number, a doctor's signature, and they can steal doctor's signatures. They can forge them. Don't give out your Medicare card. If you ever get a call asking for your Medicare number, hang it up immediately. The Better Business Bureau Education Foundation in Houston, Texas has a grant called the Texas Senior Medicare Patrol. There are 54 senior Medicare patrols in the United States, and we're in every single state, including Guam, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and Washington, D.C. The Texas Senior Medicare Patrol covers all 254 counties in the great state of Texas, and we are ready to provide you the information you need to protect yourself from Medicare fraud, error, and abuse, to detect potential fraud, error, and abuse, and report it. Whatever you do, please report any type of scam or fraud. What should we do as a society to help stop financial exploitation? The biggest word I can think of is encourage. Encourage people not to give any personal information on the phone or internet. Period. Don't give any of your information. And that goes for anyone of all ages. Scammers want your social security number. They want your Medicare number. They can do so much damage with it. If you accidentally give that number out, please call us. We're there to help you. We're not here to judge you. We're here to help you. Also, encourage older adults not to accept a free service if it requires giving personal information. I promise you, it's not worth giving your address for that gift basket because it can be used against you in a scam. And last, please encourage people of all ages to report any type of fraud, error, or abuse. And one final thought. When I was in college, I wanted to be a teacher. And I took a class. It was sociology, and I fell in love with it. And then during college, I had a job, and I was on the phone. I was a collector, and I was on the phone with an older adult that couldn't afford to pay their TV. And we were going to collect their TV, and they were going to not eat for 2 weeks to pay for that TV. It's not worth it. And I was taking that sociology class at the same time. And I knew at that point in my life that I wanted to fight for older Americans. And this quote came into my life at that same time. And I always think about it, especially on this special day on June 15th. And it's from Robert F. Kennedy. The purpose of life is to contribute in some way to making things better. My whole career, I have fought for the greatest generation of Americans. If you are in a position to help with the fight, please do so. I promise you it will be worth it. If you or a loved one or a friend ever become a victim of any type of abuse, there is help out there. Don't suffer in silence. On your screen are helpful numbers, and people are there ready to help you. Monday, June 15th, 2020 is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. This is a day for all of us to start the conversation on how to stop all elder abuse. Listed on your screen are helpful websites to start these conversations and also to use. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to thank everyone so much for joining us again for Scam of the Week. This was a special edition. June 15th, 2020 is such a special day. It is such a special opportunity to start these conversations in our community to stop all forms of abuse. If you ever need our assistance, please give us a call. Again, my direct number is 713-341-6184. Thank you all so much and take care.